Okay, we're getting started with putting the clutches inside the case, and this is a wavy plate goes down first. The clutches right now are the reverse clutches, and make sure the steel side goes down, the friction side is up facing you. The outer teeth go down first, then follow with a uh, teeth that's on the inside of the clutches. Once again, you got the teeth that's on the outside. You alternate with the teeth that are on the inside. The last plate is the pressure plate, the thick plate. So you put that plate in also, and you put the snap ring in after you put this plate in. Now you have to understand also these plates are directional, so you also have to put everything in its proper direction. Directional, what I mean is they fit in their own grooves, so you have to look for the teeth so they can go in the right slot. Now the snap ring, you put that in. I'll give you a close-up view to see how everything is sitting. Make sure everything, the snap ring is completely inside that groove uh, so that nothing pops out. Now there's a black washer. It has two tabs on the end and it sits down, and you can see where those tabs will go. Right in those holes there. Set the washer down, plastic washer. Then we're putting in the ring gear. And you must turn this ring gear so that it fits flush down against that washer. And this may take you a bit of time because the clutches have to mesh with that ring gear on the sides. So you have to turn it and turn it so the inner teeth, the clutches that you put in there that had the inner teeth, they have to fit inside of the channels, and that's what we're doing now. Okay, now you can see how that's sitting. Alright, next you want to silicone the edges here. I've already done it. I look like I missed some spot here. So you don't want to miss any spots because you don't want to have a leak, because you will have to take this back out to fix it if you can't fix it on a car. Okay, now you drop the whole planetary, the rear cover that we did, you drop that directly down on top. That's the back cover now. That's the one that contained both variators that we put together. Now, you have to make sure that it is flush. If it's not flush, then you'll have a problem. You don't want to start tightening bolts with it not being flush. Now what I'm going to do with these pliers is turn the shaft underneath there. I'm going to turn it to see if I can get it to drop down. Now this will take a bit. Sometimes you may get it on the first shot. Sometimes you may take 15-20 minutes trying to get it. But as long as there's a gap between the covers, then you have to get it right. And you will see my doing this. I may even have to take a break. I'm dropping it up and down, trying to get it to drop all the way down, but there is a gap. It's not all the way flush with the other part of the case. Now as I try to get this case to drop down and be flush with the other case, I'll tell you that I was working on another CVT today, and boy is that CVT a mess, and it is out of a Ford 500. It's called a CFT 30. That transmission is another one that you may not want to be bothered with, because the dealership has its hand in it. It has inside of it um, a mechatronic unit, which is a computer that's inside of the transmission, inside the transmission fluid. And why these dealerships make things like that, I originally thought they were stupid, but that's not it. They might be smart because they break often. They don't even get it right. In fact, if one rebuilds that transmission, a CFT 30 transmission, you are subject to have everything right, but the valve body is the thing that will be bad. And the dealerships, when you buy a valve body from it, you have to have the valve body flashed, because the computer is right on the valve body. So that is another way they try to make money with that CVT. Now, it's not uncommon to get 3 valve bodies from the dealership, because one of them or the other 2 that you got originally are bad, that they rebuilt. So the CFT 30, as I say, is another transmission. I will be putting that on YouTube also, of my disassembling it and putting it together. It takes special tools to put those together, and I have some tools that I use, and you have to have them. But right now, off the CFT 30, you see that I'm up here still trying to get this transmission to go down. I'm turning the shafts. I'm trying to get everything to mesh together, so the top half of this, or the variator case, will drop down on the middle case. There's still a gap there. It must be snug, and it's not. And the reason I wanted to view this or footage here, because I want you to see what you may have to go through. You know, a lot of times we can show that it's already done. No, I don't want you to do that. I want you to understand that you may have to suffer too. You may have to suffer, so you are going to see what's going on. It's not, some things are easy, some things aren't. But you have to learn. And I want you to understand it's not hard to rebuild. The transmission is not hard. Time consuming. Everything is time consuming. Doesn't mean that it's hard to do. You Okay, now when I'm tapping it, you can see that the gap has closed. So I have probably, it seemed like I got the teeth and everything to mesh correctly. Now I'm using a plastic mallet. You don't want to hit it or use anything that is hard to crack that case. Alright, look like I got it down. So now we're going to put some bolts in here. There are two that are longer than the rest of the bolts that goes in this back half. Okay. Now these two go right where I'm putting them. And then the other, make sure you count the holes. And you put the rest in the other holes. And then you snug the bolts up. I use an impact to snug them up. I do not tighten them completely with the impact because I like to feel how tight I'm getting them. So I normally snug them up so it doesn't take me so long, and then I take the ratchet and then hand tighten them so I can feel how tight I have the bolts.
Hey, Billy. Yeah. Come here. So can you get out of here? Okay, let's go. Open the hood on this.
Okay, now we're going to turn this transmission over to the other side. All right. Now we're going to start putting the pump in. Remember, there's a certain, look at that indentation. It goes down. Don't forget the O-ring that goes around this pump. Okay, if you're doing a repair, you would not have had to take it off. Okay, now there are 4 bolts that goes into these pumps. Okay, you tap it down. Now what you need to do with all 4 pump bolts is put all 4 in. There are 2 that you're going to tighten down, but the other 2 is to serve as a guide so that you want to make sure that all the threads line up. So sometimes when you tighten bolts down and then try to put the other bolts in, it's a little off. So you want everything to be loose. Put the other bolts in there, make sure they will tighten a little, and leave them in there. Okay, the bolts that I'm tightening down are the ones that you have to tighten. The other two that's sticking up, they're only set there to make sure that when you put them in, they will be lined up. Then you can remove them. You'll put them back in later. There's a white washer that goes down. It has grooves, tabs down. You can see it now. Next goes the filter. Now, I think I mentioned this. This filter is internal. There's no way you can change your filter. When people have problems, there's the first thing they want to do, change their filter. You can't change the filter in this Saturn Vue unless you take the transmission out and take the case apart. Okay. Now here is the bracket that holds the filter down. And this is the chain guard. However, let's see, you got to put the chain guard down first. No, I'm sorry. The filter guard was down first. The filter bracket, and then the chain guard on top. Okay, and then you tighten them. Now remember, you put those bolts in that you took out when you served them, had them there as lineup bolts. So you put them back in, and that's what tightened down the filter bracket and the chain guard. So at this point, you should have the pump secured. Okay, now the bolt we're tightening is the number 10 little bolt that you had left inside the case so as not to lose it. Okay, so now you got the bottom chain guard down. Now you're going to put on, what should be going on now are the pump gears. Now look how it goes down. The long nose on this part goes down. Okay. All right. Now there's a little clip. Okay. That clip goes on top of the gear that's sitting on the pump. You may have to squeeze it a bit on a vise or something so that you can make sure it fits. Okay. Next, we're putting in well, this is the differential, but you're going to have to put the transfer gear probably in one of those in first. That's the transfer gear. You're going to, oh, the differential has to go first, I believe. I could be wrong. Let's see how this works here. Yeah, I had it upside down. So you put the differential in first, then yeah, the transfer gear goes in next. All right. So we are getting close to wrapping this unit up. Now you put the other part of the chain guard, and it has clips. You snap it in. Now we have to get the other case. Okay, okay, let me give you a nice view of how this looks, so you get a chance to see how it looks when you have all of this assembled. The transfer gears, the pump gears, everything, the filter, everything is inside there. Alright, now you have the bell housing part of the case. There is another white washer, and the tabs go down. They fit inside grooves. There it is. Put some transmission lube or some Vaseline so that it can stick, and set that down. Alright, now that we have this finished, we're moving on to the last part of assembly, which is going to be uh, part 8. See you then.